Today we're going to test 3 sublimation powder coats, one from Columia Coatings, one from Powder by the Pound, and one from All Powder Paint. And at the end of the video we have a special surprise test to show you. Our first step is going to be cleaning the aluminum parts with this degreaser. We spray it on both sides and then rinse it off with water before we hanging them up to dry and bake them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. Next we're going to powder coat all of them, first with this Glacier White by All Powder Paints. Again, you can see the cure time there, and we did this to all of the test pieces. Here we are powder coating them. We sped this up, but as you can see, each set has different number of notches in it. That's how we're going to keep them separated when we actually powder coat with the sublimation powder coat. And they all look evenly coated, so we're just going to go ahead and put them in the oven to bake. And here are the powders that we're going to be using today. The first one from Columia Coatings, their Gloss Sublimation Clear, cure time of 12 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, that one's going to be the one with 1 notch. Second one with 2 notches on the plates is going to be the High Gloss Sublimation Clear from Powder by the Pound with a cure time of 10 minutes at 400 degrees. And the third one is going to be the All Powder Paints with 3 notches on the plates. Cure time again is the 10 minutes at 400. This is also a high gloss, but it does not state it on here. It's the only one that they offer. The Columia Powder Coat or Columia Coatings also offers a matte, but we did not test that one. So, all right, let's go ahead and powder coat these. And here we are powder coating the ones with the 1 notch with the Columia Coatings. And it's nice and coated. And then we'll move on to the Powder by the Pound sublimation coating. And again, just checking here that it's all coated. You'll notice that it has the 2 notches on these ones, so we can keep everything separated and easily designated which ones are which. Here we are powder coating the All Powder Paints with the 3 notches. And it looks like it's nice and coated. And then let's see how these turn out. Here are the results before sublimation. The Columia Coatings is the most smooth finish, and then the Powder by the Pound has a bit more of a texture, just some slight dimpling there. Number 3, All Powder Paints, has only slight dimpling, so it's kind of between number 1 and number 2. Here we are heat pressing the sublimation prints onto all of the plates all at the same time. We're using a setting of 350 degrees for 85 seconds. And we have them taped on both sides with different patterns. As you can see, all of these came out pretty well. We just did different test patterns on both. The black square pattern was used to see if there was a difference between the level of detail that the sublimation powder would accept, the smallest gap being 1 point and going up. So all of them did really well. The color flower was to just see if there was a color difference between the different paints or powder coats. As you can see here, all of the colors came out pretty well as the detail. All came out very well. The coating for number 3, the all powder paints, was slightly more yellow, but really it's very difficult to see any difference, especially on camera. They're all very, very similar. You might be able to see some white spots on there. Those are from the paper residue. They're not actually anything wrong with sublimation. I just didn't wipe any of these off before filming. Here I'm changing the color settings on the camera just to try and see if I could pick up the color difference. Again, you can slightly see that the number 3 has a little more yellow to it. The next test I want to perform is a scratch test. I want to see if there's a change in the durability between the 3 different powder coats. I'm using 150 grit here, and then this is a spring-loaded plunger, just so I can keep constant pressure and that it's not changed by how much I push on it. So this is just a spring-loaded plunger, and we're just going to scrape across back and forth to see what kind of scratching happens. So 4 times across for each one of the plates. So here's number 2. Again, scratching. And then here we are with number 3, the all powder paints, doing the same test. Sped these up a little bit. And then we also came back with a 80 grit and tried it on the lower half. So back with number 3. Again, 4 passes. And then again with number 2. And then number 1. Changing the location of the sandpaper every time to make sure that we get a fresh spot of sandpaper. All the durability seemed pretty much the same between all of the brands. There really wasn't, there's not that much scratching. Again, the 80 grit is going to be a little more than the 150 grit, but all of the scratches seemed about consistent. At this point, it's seeming like pretty much all 3 of these powder coats are relatively the same, other than maybe some slight color variance. We have one final test that we're going to perform. We take this plate that has been powder coated bronze goldish color. Then we sublimated a print onto it in black. With this powder coat, you can see some of the shininess of the bronze shining through, whereas the other ones accepted more of the black. While one side of these had an issue with the lip not pressing all the way down on the sublimation, it did accept more black, so you can't see as much of the bronze gold color coming through. So there's more contrast between the black and the chrome gold color with the Columia Coatings and the all powder paints. As you see, there's that lip there preventing the sublimation dye from transferring all the way. And here was our final test. We went ahead and bent these in a jig so that they were all bent exactly the same. all 45-degree angle. And we wanted to see how these would hold up to bending. As you can see, it did really well. I was very surprised. So you could powder coat and then sublimate and then bend a piece of metal. If you wanted to try something that needed to be bent and sublimating, it's very difficult when it's a bent piece of metal. As you can see, the number 2 and the number 3 did very well. Number 1 actually had an issue that cracked. I don't know if this is that the powder coat, the chrome gold powder coat, didn't stick very well to this particular piece, but it broke off. So that concludes our tests, and thank you very much for watching.